Devastating truth. Young homeless woman, little girl's heart-wrenching encounter at midnight. The city lay cloaked in a thick blanket of shadows, the moon peering through the clouds as though terrified of what it might witness. It was midnight, the witching hour when secrets slithered through alleyways, and the world held its breath. On the abandoned corner of Elm Street, a young woman, no older than 20, hunched over a tattered blanket, her hair matted and her eyes hollow, screamed of desperation. Lisa felt the sharp sting of cold on her skin, the shivers running up her spine. But her heart raced not from the chill. No, it thudded loudly with dread, echoing the fears that clawed at her mind. What would happen tonight? Across the street, a street lamp flickered erratically, casting eerie shadows that twisted and turned like ghosts. The woman's throat was dry. She hadn't tasted water in days. As she glanced down the empty road, her pulse quickened. The darkness shifted, revealing a flicker of movement. A little girl, no older than 6, stood frozen, clutching a ragged teddy bear. Her innocent blue eyes sparkled like sapphires against the gloom. Was she lost? Or worse, was she brave enough to be out here alone? Something felt off. Lisa's instincts screamed at her to run, yet the girl exuded an unsettling magnetism that pulled her closer. The child's presence was a puzzle wrapped in an enigma, and Lisa couldn't understand why it felt like their fates were somehow intertwined. As the girl took a hesitant step forward, her small frame seemed almost too fragile for the cruel world around them. Chills crawled up Lisa's spine, and she strained to hear the girl's voice. "Are you okay?" The words were soft, like a whisper of wind slicing through the night air. It was a question filled with both innocence and knowing. Lisa's chest tightened, a lump forming in her throat, as if the weight of the world rested upon her. How could such a tiny creature wield so much compassion? And just like that, the atmosphere thickened with tension. The street quieted, as if the city itself paused, waiting for the next act in this unfolding drama. Sneers from the shadows echoed like distant thunder, murmurs that hinted at danger lurking nearby. Suddenly, Lisa caught the faint sound of shuffling behind her, something sinister creeping through the darkness. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With her heart hammering, Lisa turned her gaze back to the girl, who stood staring at something behind her with wide, frightened eyes. The little girl's grip on the teddy bear tightened, the seams threatening to burst. The flickering street lamp cast an eerie glow, illuminating a figure moving in the distance, its face shrouded in shadows. The tension was alive, a palpable force that grasped both women in its chilly embrace. Lisa took a deep breath, her instincts screaming that something was terribly wrong. But the child's eyes held a strange wisdom, a blend of innocence and fear that both beckoned and warned. She could run, but what if the girl needed help? As the figure came closer, Lisa's breath caught in her throat. Who are you?" she whispered, but the answer clung to the air, waiting, just out of reach. What did this night have in store for them? She didn't know, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. The figure stepped into the pale light, revealing a man clad in a long, dark coat. His face was partially hidden beneath a hood, casting eerie shadows that accentuated the sharp angles of his jaw. Lisa's heart raced, a frantic drum beating in her chest as her instincts screamed at her to flee. But her feet felt glued to the sidewalk, unable to move, transfixed by the stranger exuding a sense of danger. "Hello, little one," the man said, his voice gravelly yet unnaturally smooth, like ice skimming over a frozen lake. He focused his gaze on the girl, who instinctively took a step back, clutching her teddy bear as if it were her only lifeline. "What are you doing out here all alone?" The question hung heavy in the air, pulsating with a sinister curiosity. The child shivered, and despite Lisa wanting to shield her from this threat, she felt paralyzed, caught between fear and the desperate need to protect. A chill swept down her spine, dark memories echoing in her mind. This was how things could go wrong, how the world could turn from a single flash of vulnerability. "Leave her alone," Lisa finally shouted, her voice laced with raw courage. It surprised her how strong she sounded, but it felt necessary. Somehow, she needed to create a barrier against the encroaching night. The man turned his gaze toward her, eyes glinting with something dark. "And who might you be? Another lost soul wandering the streets, thinking she can save everyone?" His words cut deep. Lisa felt exposed, her circumstances on display like a dirty secret. She swallowed hard, rallying every ounce of resolve. "I might be lost, but I won't let you hurt her." The little girl glanced up at Lisa, wide-eyed, searching for strength. In that moment, something sparked between them, a connection that transcended the fears swirling around. Lisa held the girl's gaze, a tether of hope anchoring them in the terrifying reality. The man chuckled, low and mocking, like thunder rumbling through the walls of a distant storm. "You don't understand," he purred, the malice in his voice seeping under her skin. "There are things far worse than me lurking in this city." He leaned slightly forward, the shadows playing tricks on his features. "Things that can swallow you whole without a trace." Lisa felt a wave of heat rising from deep within. "Then I'll fight. I will fight for her." He let out a smooth laugh, dark and chilling, as if her bravery amused him. "You have no idea what you're up against, little girl. You think you're protecting her? Trust me, you're only putting yourself in greater danger." A flash of uncertainty flickered within her, but she grasped it firmly, rejecting any notion of fear. As Lisa stood her ground, the little girl took a small step forward, emboldened by Lisa's fierce protectiveness. "What do you want?" The girl's voice broke through the tension, a surprising burst of innocence crashing against the dark atmosphere. The man paused, his expression shifting, a flicker of indecision crossing his face. "You don't want to know what I want," he replied, his tone laced with discontent. "But it just might change your fate." In an instant, the shadows around them grew thicker, the air crackling with an unseen force. Lisa felt her breath quicken, panic gnawing at her. A distant siren wailed in the background, a warning echoing in the night. "Run," Lisa urged, suddenly breaking the paralysis. She grabbed the girl's hand, feeling the fragile warmth of her tiny fingers as they intertwined. But before they could move, the man's voice turned cold, an icy whisper that stopped them in their tracks. "Once you open the door to the dark, there's no going back." The world blurred around them, time suspended in that moment. What had he opened? What awaited them beyond this dreadful encounter? As they stood on the brink of unknown terrors, Lisa knew this was just the beginning. But would they escape the night, or would they become part of its wicked fabric? The shadows stirred as they began to close in around them. The darkness pulsed around them like a living thing. Lisa squeezed the little girl's hand tighter, feeling the tension in the air shift, growing heavier. The streetlights flickered, and for a moment, it seemed as if the entire world had gone still, holding its breath. She cast a fleeting glance at the figure in the coat, who looked like he was savoring their fear, his lips curling into a sinister smile. "Why are you doing this?" Lisa's voice came out sharper than she intended, yet it cut through the suffocating silence that wrapped around them. "Doing what?" he replied, feigning innocence, his eyes glinting with dark amusement. "Just offering you both a glimpse into the abyss." Suddenly, the shadows behind him writhed and twisted, as though they were alive. Lisa felt a rush of cold air sweep past them, carrying an unsettling whisper, a chorus of lost souls. She shuddered. The mirth tainted with malice from this man felt like a jagged blade against her skin. "We need to go. Now," Lisa pleaded, starting to pull the girl toward the mouth of the alley. But the man stepped forward, his presence imposing and daunting. "An escape welcomed by the dark is not an escape at all, my dear." His laughter sliced through the air, rich with bitterness, pulling at the fraying ends of her courage. Fear throbbed in Lisa's chest like an alarm bell. She had fought her whole life against circumstance, against despair, and now this? It felt inevitable, like a dream where all roads led to a single dread. "What do you know of fate?" Lisa challenged, her words ignited by a sudden resolve. "You're nothing but a shadow, a ghost of the mistakes we fear." The laughter dried up, replaced by a steely gaze. And now there was something almost human flickering in his eyes, fear, rage, or perhaps longing. Little girl, the shadows know you better than you know yourself. You think you can defy them? For the first time, the little girl spoke up. I'm not afraid, she said, full of a brave defiance that chilled Lisa's heart. Her innocence, juxtaposed with the looming menace, ignited something primal within Lisa. She had to protect this precious light, this fragile spirit unclouded by the darkness swirling around them both. Come, little one, the man hissed with a voice soaked in poison. Join me. You could wield power beyond what this girl can comprehend. Together, we could bend the night to our will. The girl recoiled slightly, but Lisa felt her own heart stretching toward the child, a tether forged between them. We'll never join you. You can't scare us. Scare? He echoed, tilting his head as though examining a rare specimen. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm offering liberation. With that, he flicked his wrist and shadows surged forward, creeping towards them like claws, hungry and insatiable. Heart racing, Lisa yanked the girl back just as the darkness brushed against her ankle, colder than ice. We have to fight. Let go of your fear, Lisa shouted, realizing the power of her own voice, feeling it resonate in the chilling air. As she spoke, she turned away from him, and the shadows groaned, recoiling as if something within them rejected her defiance. But he lunged forward, fury igniting his features. You think you can walk away? Not so fast. Lisa felt a surge of determination. This was a challenge not merely for themselves, but for every soul who had been broken in this city. Fear began to morph into action as she pushed the girl behind her and squared her shoulders against the man. The darkness swelled, threatening to consume them. But just before the shadows surged again, Lisa remembered the stories from her childhood, the light that could shatter any night, the flame that ignited hope. We'll face whatever comes, she yelled, raising her free hand, feeling that inner strength swell like winds embracing a ship. The air buzzed, crackling with energy. Was it courage? Was it faith? Whatever it was enough. The shadows recoiled, and for a heartbeat, the night's grip seemed to loosen. As the darkness rolled back, Lisa glanced back at the girl. Her eyes sparkled with a glimmer of hope. Stay with me, Lisa breathed. But just as they took their first step towards salvation, the echoes of the man's voice slithered through the air like an unyielding storm. You can't escape what's meant to happen. You've opened the door, and now I will come for you when you least expect it. The finality of his words hung heavy in the air, a promise wrapped in a threat. They were not free yet. The battle had merely begun, and Lisa felt the rush of adrenaline coursing through her veins as they sprinted down the alley, shadows dwindling behind them. But she couldn't shake the thought what awaited them in the future was more terrifying than she could fathom. As they turned a corner, the reality settled in something dark was unavoidably pursuing them. But Lisa held onto the girl's hand tightly, resolved to face whatever awaited them next. What would the shadows demand in return for their escape? The alley twisted underfoot, littered with remnants of lives lost to the night, forgotten hopes clinging like ghosts to the pavement. The dim light from the street lamps cast elongated shadows that danced in their wake, mocking their desperate escape. Lisa's heart raced as she glanced at the little girl, whose small strides matched her own but seemed unbothered by the chaos behind them. It was as if innocence shielded her from the horrors just a breath away. Keep going, just keep moving, Lisa urged, her voice thick with urgency. They were past the end of the alley, stepping into the more illuminated streets. But the illumination felt fragile, as if it too might be swallowed whole by darkness at any moment. Where are we going? The girl asked, her voice wobbly yet defiant. I don't know, but anywhere is better than here. Lisa forced a smile, though the tension in her chest only tightened. She pushed the fear away, focusing on the rhythm of their steps against the pavement. Each beat was a promise. They would not be taken. Just as they began to gain speed, a sharp command cut through the night. You can't run forever. It was him, the figure in the coat, his silhouette stark against the flickering lights, somehow becoming one with the shadows that clung to him. He stood there, a statue of dread, arms folded with a confidence that made Lisa's blood run cold. The little girl's grip tightened around Lisa's hand, pulling her back slightly. He's back. I know, Lisa said, scanning their surroundings. They needed a plan, a way to hide, to throw him off. In front of them, a large dumpster loomed, dark and grimy. but it was a sanctuary compared to the nightmare pursuing them. "Quick, behind there," Lisa directed, nudging the girl toward the sheltering metal. They squeezed into the narrow space, cramped and stifling. The stench was nauseating, but they held their breaths, retreating into shadow to hide from shadow. "Do you think he can see us?" the girl whispered, wide-eyed and trembling. Lisa crouched low, pressing against the cool metal. "I don't know, but we have to stay quiet. No noise." Just as she spoke, a shiver went through her, as if the world around them was shifting. Outside, the man's voice whispered like curling smoke, seeping through the cracks in their refuge. "You think you've won? I see you, I can always see you. The shadows will always find their way back to where they belong." Lisa clenched her jaw, frustrated. It was maddening. How could he have this power over them? How could he see shadows where others only saw light? Panic sliced through her, and she felt the girl's small body shudder beside her. Suddenly, the girl reached out, her small hand grazing Lisa's arm. "What does he want?" Lisa's heart ached at the innocence in the girl's voice. "He wants to scare us. He thrives on fear. But if I'm brave, he can't hurt me, right?" "Exactly." Lisa's voice was fierce, a spark igniting within her. "We have to be brave together. That's the only way." The thought of protecting this child lit a fire in her. They could outsmart him. She would not let darkness steal another soul. "Good," the girl whispered, a bit of resolve creeping back into her voice. Just when they thought they could breathe, there was a grating noise outside the dumpster rattling as the figure approached. "What will you do when the shadows come knocking again? You've only delayed the inevitable." His voice dripped with malicious delight. Lisa's mind raced. This was a deeper game than she'd anticipated, and the stakes were painfully clear. Each second brought more chilling whispers echoing around them. They had to act, to push forward. On the count of 3, "We bolt," Lisa breathed, her eyes drilling into the girl. "Okay, 1, 2. And just as she hit 3 and they burst forth from their hiding spot, the figure lunged forward, the shadows clawing back. Hungry for the light they shared, Lisa's throat tightened as she felt the familiar frost of tension cascade over her. "Run," she shouted, the urgency snapping like a twig in the cool night air. They raced down the street, hearts pounding as the darkness clawed at their heels. But somewhere in the chaos of it all, Lisa caught a glimpse of something ahead, a faint flicker, something promising amidst the encroaching gloom. But as they turned the corner, a new wave of dread surged through her. The flickering light was not salvation. It was something far worse. They had stumbled into a gathering, a circle of figures cloaked in darkness, each one staring with eyes that glimmered like embers. "Welcome, wayward souls," one of them hissed, and Lisa felt the dread swell inside her. This was a trap. What were they now up against? The shadows extended around them, welcoming them deeper into the throbbing black. Even as she held the girl close, Lisa felt everything teeter on the edge, hovering between the light of hope and the consuming darkness that would stop at nothing to claim them. What awaited them in this new darkness? The circle closed in around them, figures shifting, glimmering eyes narrowing in on Lisa and the girl. Each movement felt like a heartbeat, drawing them closer to a fate they could hardly understand. Lisa's pulse pounded in her ears, drowning the world in a deafening rhythm. "Stay close," she whispered urgently, pressing the girl against her side. The child nodded, though fear clung to her like a heavy cloak. "You cannot escape what you are," one of the figures spoke, his voice smooth and sinister, cutting through the thick air. "You carry the weight of your past, and now, you bear another burden." Lisa's breath caught. The shadows pulsed, throbbed with an energy that felt alive. She squared her shoulders. "What do you want from us?" "Only to remind you," he hissed, stepping forward. The flickering light caught his face, revealing features that twisted with both malice and sorrow. "You and the innocent girl are bound to this place. Our domain thrives on fear, and you are but candles ready to be snuffed out. Get away from us." Lisa shouted, her resolve sparking like a flame. Yet fear danced in her chest, a familiar visitor. A chorus of low laughter rose around them, the figures relishing her defiance. "Do you truly believe you can outrun what you are? The darkness whispers truths you cannot bear. Come, listen to the shadows." The girl shivered beside her, and Lisa felt fingers of dread creep along her spine. She clenched her fists, determined not to let this warmth of innocence slip away. "What truth?" she spat, trying to focus her mind on the girl's belief and bravery. The truth of your past, your failures, the choices that led you both here, the figure taunted. Every moment of weakness contributes to the shadows. You cannot disengage from them. They cling to you, hoping to drag you down into despair. The girl squeezed Lisa's hand tighter, her small fingers trembling. "I'm not afraid," she declared, though her voice quivered. "Ah, a brave little one. But bravery alone does not guarantee survival," the shadow figure remarked, grinning. "Would you sacrifice your innocence to gain safety?" In that moment, Lisa felt the weight of the question hang in the air, a chilling challenge. Would she risk the girl's purity? No. Lisa shot back, her voice vehement. "I'll protect her at all costs. You want to take her." She stepped forward, defiance sparking in her chest. The shadows shuddered, brightening just a fraction as her courage pushed against the darkness. "Such spirit," another figure murmured, sliding closer as if drawn to her intensity. "But spirit alone cannot withstand the hunger within these walls. Every ounce of fear you harbor makes you easier prey. Fear won't keep me down," Lisa yelled, pushing deeper into the circle, resolute. As if sensing a shift, the cloaked figures recoiled slightly, eyes now wide, contemplating the fearlessness they rarely encountered. "Then let us test that resolve," the malicious voice purred. "Let us reveal what the shadows cherish." Before Lisa could prepare herself, the figure weaved through the circle, whispering words that seemed to echo off the fabric of reality. A sudden blast of images flooded Lisa's mind, a swirling tempest. Shattered memories, faces long forgotten, each one edged with regret, flooded her consciousness. "No, stop," she screamed, clamping her hands over her ears, desperate to block out the onslaught. Each image clawed at her heart, dredging memories she buried deep. The helplessness surged, thick as fog. "Embrace it, Lisa. Accept your failures," the figure shouted, the grin returning, wider now, reverberating through the whispers surrounding them. The girl looked up, her innocent eyes wide with fear. "Lisa, stay with me," Lisa gasped, trying to shake off the shadows that clung to her thoughts. It felt unbearable, suffocating, and just when she thought she couldn't fight it anymore, something deep within her surged, an unyielding hope ignited by the girl's trust. With a force of will, she expelled the nightmare images. "You do not own us," she roared, her voice shattering the darkness. "We are not your prey." The shadows shrank back in surprise, dark minds recoiling from the light in her heart. The little girl glimmered beside her, unwavering. "But at what cost?" the shadow figure growled, lurching forward once more. "Whatever it takes," Lisa cried. As the words rang out, an unstable crack echoed around them, shattering the momentary stillness. Suddenly, the entire gathering began to tremble, as if the shadows themselves wavered in response. The darkness was alive, restless. Why was this happening now? Lisa felt a sudden rush of wind. The flickering lights flickered violently, shadows twisting beyond control, threading shapes into the chaos. Then, out of that storm, emerged a glimmer. Something new, something alive waiting just beyond reach. But as she strained to grasp it, Lisa felt the shadows curl, slithering back, watching with a patient hunger. They were not finished yet. What did they want with the light bursting through? And what would it cost her to find out? The air thickened with tension, each heartbeat loud in the engulfing darkness. Lisa felt the shadows quiver with anticipation, each figure shifting like the smoke from a distant flame. She held the girl tighter, the slight body quaking at her side, an anchor amid the chaos. "Look," one figure hissed, pointing a skeletal hand toward the dark fog that swirled at the center. The atmosphere crackled, and the moisture on Lisa's skin seemed to turn icy, chilling her soul. A shape was forming, coalescing, pulling together fragments of shadow and fear, mimicking the very essence of terrors long buried. "What are you?" Lisa's voice faltered, uncertainty creeping in despite her bravado. The girl looked up at her, eyes wide, filled with both trust and desperate hope. "Your true self," the shadow figure replied, his voice a silky whisper that sent shudders down Lisa's spine. "What you fear, what you hide, and what binds you both to this place." As the shadows warped and twisted, the light began to pulse erratically. Suddenly, a figure emerged, an echo of her past. A younger version of herself, face smudged with dirt, eyes hollow, lost. A ghost of sorrow without hope, standing alone in a darkened alleyway. Lisa's heart clenched. No, not this, she gasped, clenching her fists. Oh, but this is your foundation. The figure cackled, stepping closer, mirroring Lisa's movements, every gesture dripping with despair. You can't escape your roots. Look at her. It pointed at the girl, who was trembling but still holding tight. Do you really think you can protect her from the truth? From where you came? Stop. Lisa screamed, desperation coursing through her. She is not me. She is innocent. Is she? The echo of her past smiled then, a wicked twist on what had once been sweetness. What do you think will happen when she learns your truth? The shadows thrive on secrets, Lisa. Let me show her. The swirling darkness surged again, spark-like tendrils reaching toward the girl. Lisa felt the air grow thick, desperate to snatch away the little one's spirit. Heart hammering, she stepped between them, fortifying her resolve. I won't let you, she shouted, every ounce of her being trembling with power and rage. Then face what you've done. The shadow figure grimaced, its claws weaving into the tempest swirling toward them. The darkness hesitated, sensing a shift. Lisa's memories surged anew, her choices, her mistakes, choices she struggled to outrun. But one truth chased the shadows around her. She was not that lost child anymore. The little girl beside her deserved to see warmth, light, love. Leave her alone. Lisa cried, and in the turmoil, something shifted. The shadows faltered, flickering again like a dying flame. You cannot defend what you do not understand. The echo of her past taunted, and then, the darkness morphed, folding into a grotesque semblance of herself, memories writhing and contorting behind her haunted eyes. But even amid the fear, something ignited a glimmer of past triumphs that shimmered amidst the darkness. I am not your prisoner anymore, she shouted. I choose my future for both of us. The shadows hissed, recoiling as if struck. Lisa could feel each quiver in her bones, sensing the momentum shift with every word she uttered. The light was flickering more boldly now. Could she grasp it? Do you think your courage alone will save you? You are still bound. That original shadow loomed forward. Not if we fight together. Lisa's voice rang, steeling itself further. The girl's hand found Lisa's once more. The warmth seeped through, and an unspoken promise flickered between them. The shadows recoiled visibly, the pressure of their presence piercing but faltering. But before a breakthrough could shatter the circle, the shadows shrieked. A deafening sound, like distant thunder that rattled the air, caught them both off guard. The familiar warmth of light surged in intensity, almost blinding. This isn't over. The shadows writhed, their forms twisting grotesquely in the glow. This is only the beginning of the truth. As the chaos threatened to swallow them whole, Lisa drew on that flicker of resolve, heart thundering against her ribs. No, we will expose you. We will break this darkness. Just then, the ground trembled underfoot. A sharp crack split the air. Light began to spiral and ebb as the darkness surged in retaliation, clawing its way back with renewed hunger. What would happen next? Would they finally break free? Or was the true cost of escape something more devastating than either could imagine? The ground shook violently, as if the very world beneath them was splitting apart. Lisa felt the vibrations crawling up her legs, exploding into her chest. The girl clutched her tighter, eyes wide with fear. Shadows lunged forward again, their voices discordant whispers raking at her mind, trying to pull her down into the abyss. Let go of your light, Lisa, they taunted, their breath hot and rancid. The darkness roared with fury, and she could feel it clawing at the edges of her sanity, threatening to overwhelm her with memories she thought she had escaped. No, I won't let you take her. The resolve surged anew. Lisa squared her shoulders, bracing against the suffocating darkness. But the shadows howled, fanning out like a storm ready to swallow everything whole. In that fleeting moment of clarity, she remembered her mother's arms, once warm and protective, but suddenly twisted by pain and addiction. A burning ache flared within her, and Lisa gasped. Her past flooded over her, threatening to drown her. The mistakes, the years of struggle, the lonely nights had all crashed down like waves pounding a fragile shore. The girl's fingers clenched on her arm, pulling Lisa back to the present. Don't be scared. We can fight them together. The innocence in that small voice anchored her further, For a heartbeat, time hung still, as if the universe paused to witness the power of their bond. Then darkness surged again, this time with a deafening growl. A massive shadow figure loomed, a fusion of regrets and fears, its eyes burning with malice. "Face your demons, Lisa. You think a child can shield you?" It roared, its voice like thunder and despair echoing the helplessness she bore so deep within. "No," Lisa shouted, shaking her head. "You don't understand." Her heart raced, adrenaline coursing through her as she struggled to maintain her grip on hope. "She is my light. Love is stronger than this." Just as the shadow lunged, its gnarled fingers grasping greedily, a beam of light erupted from deep within her heart. It pulsed intensely, radiating warmth, casting out the creeping darkness like dawn chasing away night. Together, Lisa cried out, feeling the rush of power flow between her and the little girl. That small spark grew, exploding in dazzling brilliance, illuminating their surroundings. The shadows writhed and shrank, shrieking in profound agony, but the relief was short-lived. An oppressive weight settled over them, squeezing Lisa's chest like an iron vice. "You think this light will save you?" The original Shadow's voice was smothered yet taunting, filled with twisted delight. "What about the darkness inside you? Leave her out of this." Lisa screamed, her voice fighting to pierce through the shrieks. The little girl's gaze was steady, flickering with understanding, and Lisa felt a swell of fierce protectiveness. "Show me your heart," demanded the dark figure. "Show me your truth." In that moment, Lisa realized the urgency of the choice before her. To fight? To embrace the truth? Or to keep hiding in the cloisters of her mind? If they survived this, there would be consequences. Memories and shadows would accompany her in ways she never planned on facing. But the weight of the little girl's spirit shone, fueling her courage to face what she had long buried. With a deep breath, Lisa stepped forward, grounding herself in her own humanity. "I will not hide anymore," she shouted, letting the truth rise up from deep within her. "I am not ashamed of who I was. I choose love over fear." An explosive light surging forth caught the shadow figure off guard, and it screeched in a mixture of rage and fear. The darkness peeled away like old paint, revealing not only the hurt but strength in vulnerability. But then, as if shattering her moment of triumph, the ground beneath them gave way. With a sickening lurch, Lisa felt herself plummeting into an unknown void, the girl's hand slipping from hers. "Lisa!" she screamed, desperation echoing off the edges of the darkness that threatened to engulf them both. They were falling into uncertainty, fear intertwining with the squeaky threads of hope. What lay at the bottom of this abyss? Would they find salvation or despair? Would Lisa be able to retrieve her light or lose everything she fought for? The void swirled around them, a whirlwind of shadows and echoes. Lisa gasped for breath as the darkness threatened to swallow her whole. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribs like a desperate drum, urging her to fight to find the girl again, to not lose the light she had awakened within. But the terrifying thought that she might fail clawed at her sanity. "Hold on," she shouted, but the words felt lost in the endless descent. Memories surged, moments of warmth, laughter, and love clashing with those of bitter loneliness and despair. Every instant played out like a cruel reminder of what she had lost. Could her connection with the girl, fragile and pure, still shine through the suffocating darkness? With a fierce determination, Lisa fought to gain control amid the chaos. The shadows twisted and churned, their whispers morphing into taunts, forming a dreadful cacophony. "You will fall forever," they cried. "You can't escape your truth." "No." She clenched her fists, recalling the girl's trusting gaze. "I won't give in." The resolve ignited another pulse of light deep in her chest, illuminating the darkness around her. Suddenly, she felt a pull, a connection stronger than the shadows. It wrapped around her like an embrace, guiding her deeper into the churning abyss. "Focus on her," a voice whispered through the turmoil. It was as if the very spirit of the little girl was calling out to her. In this plunge, Lisa envisioned the girl's radiant smile and unwavering faith. "I'll find you," she screamed into the void. A sensation like electricity surged through her fingertips, a response to her unyielding trust. The shadows curled at the edges of the approach, tearing away as she propelled herself into the depths of hope. Then, with a jarring thud, Lisa hit solid ground. Staggering to her feet, she quickly scanned her surroundings. The endless night had transformed into a desolate landscape lit by eerie flickers of dim light. Shadows lurked in the corners, but they felt different now, less menacing and more curious. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, yet tinged with something sweet, almost like blooming flowers. The girl materialized at the center of a glowing circle, her face luminous with innocence, yet a flicker of uncertainty danced in her eyes. "Lisa," she cried, her voice reverberating with relief. But shadows coiled around her, clawing at her ankles, reaching for the gentle glow radiating from her skin. Lisa dashed forward, heart pounding with urgency. "I'm here. I want to let them take you." As she rushed into the circle, the light around them deepened, pushing the malevolence away. The dark figures hissed, swirling like smoke. "Foolish girl, you think you can save her?" they screeched, their voices dripping with outrage. Lisa felt the girl's hand clasped tightly around hers as they stood united against the encroaching shadows. "We are stronger together," she declared, her conviction echoing through the bleakness. The ground trembled beneath them again, shaking her resolve. A rift opened nearby, dark and hungry, ready to consume everything in its path. Lisa's bravery faltered for just a moment, but the girl's grip tightened. "We can't go back. Choose love. Choose love," the phrase echoed in her mind, repeated like a mantra. Lisa turned her focus inward, allowing warmth and compassion to rise within her. She released her fears, every mistake, every moment of pain, and breathed in the strength born from love. "I choose you," she shouted into the abyss, channeling her essence into the light. The rift roared, churning with fury. Would their united light be enough to push through? Could they break free from the dark ties that bound them? As the shadows screeched in agony, Lisa felt the air shift. Suddenly, the ground shook violently once more, and she was thrust against the brilliant light that surrounded them. Would that light be their salvation, or would it be the very thing that tore them apart? Desperation clawed at her throat as she prepared for the ultimate confrontation. What awaited them beyond the blinding light? The brilliance enveloped them like a warm embrace, radiating an intensity that felt almost alive. Lisa squinted against the overwhelming light, and for a heartbeat, she feared it might consume her entirely. But then she felt the girl's small hand in hers, steadying her, anchoring her amidst the chaos. "Don't let go," the girl urged, her voice a poignant melody against the rising wind of the shadows that snarled around the edges of their circle. "I want tea," Lisa shouted, feeling the weight of every choice she had made, every dark corner she had faced. The light pulsed brightly, and she could sense the tug of fear from the figures lurking beyond. They hissed and writhed, insatiable, desperate. "Foolish mortals," a shadow screeched, its form twisting into something grotesque. "You think love can shield you from the truth. You think you can escape." With each claim, the air thickened, and the temperature around them dropped. Lisa shivered but forced herself to breathe deep, channeling her focus into their bond. "We can't want tea," she said, strong and clear. Their connection felt like a lifeline. She grasped tighter, feeling the warmth flow from the girl, a radiant beacon against the encroaching darkness. Suddenly, the ground beneath them split with a violent crack, threatening to send them plummeting into the void below. The rift opened wide, and a deep roar echoed from its depths, calling to the instinctual fears buried within Lisa. Her heart raced as panic threatened to swallow her whole. "Stay with me," she urged, almost pleading. "I'm not going anywhere." The girl responded, her eyes fixed on Lisa, unyielding, her faith a stubborn flame against the encroaching shadows. But the rift pulsed, taunting them, promising freedom from the pain, from the fears holding them back. Lisa could feel its allure, and for a fleeting moment, doubts crept back. What if they had made a mistake? What if loving so fiercely only tore them apart? "Choose love," came the echo of the girl's earlier words, and they resounded louder than anything else. Love, Lisa realized, wasn't just a feeling. It was an act of defiance against the shadows that threatened to envelop them. "Together," Lisa exclaimed. "We fight together." With a shared determination, they focused on the light surrounding them, pouring their hearts into it. The dark figures shrieked as the wave of light surged outward, crashing against the rift, forcing it to tremble. The air vibrated with intensity, and the hiss of shadows turned to howls of frustration. But just when it seemed like they might break free, a sudden blast of cold shot through the space. It felt like icy fingers clawing at her throat, sending Lisa gasping for breath. She stumbled, her vision blurring. "Look, Lisa!" the girl cried, pointing desperately. "Look!" Lisa followed the girl's gaze. Emerging from the chaos, a figure seeped through the darkness, a woman, cloaked in shadows but with eyes that shone like stars against the night. Lisa's heart dropped. She recognized her. "Mom!" she cried, but the figure simply stood there, a hint of a smile on her lips. "Do you really think you can escape the truth?" The woman spoke, her voice a haunting melody, both familiar and chilling. "No, you're not real," Lisa yelled, fighting against the split in her heart. But even as she shouted, doubts flooded her mind. "Choose." The shadows swirled, their voices weaving in and out. "Will you trust the girl, or your fading memories? Which love will guide you?" The ground trembled again, and the rift roared, the force threatening to consume them both. As Lisa looked back at the girl, she felt a painful tug in her chest. They were running out of time. What would Lisa choose? How could she protect the girl without losing herself again? The choice loomed like a storm, heavy and palpable. Would she heed the pull of memories, or would she fight to keep the girl's light alive with everything on the line? As the rift gaped wide, she realized the question went deeper than either of them could have imagined. The rift pulsed ominously, a dark mouth hungry for every shred of fear and doubt. Lisa's heart raced as she stood between the figure of her mother and the little girl, whose innocence kept her anchored in a reality that felt heavy with shadows. The darkness seemed to breathe, filling the air with an overwhelming malevolence that echoed her internal struggle. "Choose." The chorus of shadows beckoned, their voices dripping with twisted delight. "Will you cling to the warmth of a memory, or embrace the light born from your love for the child?" Lisa swallowed hard. Every instinct told her to flee from the painful specter of her past, the mother she both loved and feared. Yet, the girl's trusting gaze forced her to confront the truth. "No," she shouted, defiance surging through her. "You want to take us. You want to tear us apart." The girl beside her looked up, wide-eyed yet steady. "We can choose, Lisa. Together." A breath of courage washed over Lisa, a reminder that love was greater than the darkness that shackled her. "Mom," Lisa called out, her voice trembling yet firm. "I want memories that nourish my soul, not those that haunt it. I choose to let go of the shadows that bind me. I choose love." The figure of her mother's past flickered, the smile wavering. The shadows, too, hesitated, the fury and hunger within them softening momentarily. Uncertainty shone in their crimson eyes. With every ounce of strength, Lisa reached for the girl, fingers intertwining. "Together," she echoed, the two hearts beating as one in defiance against the encroaching gloom. "Together, we choose the light." In a brilliant flash, the bond between them ignited, a radiant beam of hope piercing through the darkness, its warmth melting the cold despair that had threatened to consume them. The shadows writhed, their screams echoing through the air, but the light only grew fiercer. As the blinding brilliance surged forward, Lisa stepped into the unfurling rays, the small girl right beside her. The rift trembled violently, charcoal-black hands reaching out, hungry for what they could never claim. "No," they screamed, shrilling in frustration as the spiral of warmth enveloped them, drawing every ounce of light from Lisa's heart. The figures of her past twisted and melted into the powerful vortex of radiance, the familiar warmth overshadowing the anguish she once felt. With a thunderous roar, the rift began to close, the edges collapsing in on themselves as Lisa and the girl stood unyielding, their resolve a fortress against the unrelenting tide. "Step into the light," the girl yelled, fear evaporating as a newfound strength surged within her. "Trust it. Trust us." And just like that, they leaped together, straight into the warmth, the darkness shrieking a final time before being obliterated by the cleansing brightness that followed. For a moment, they embraced not only the light, but each other, a fusion of strength, vulnerability, and love. They were wrapped together in a cocoon of warmth, the dark past behind them, yet still echoing through memories distant, filtering through trepidation, building a bridge toward a hopeful tomorrow. As the light enveloped them, it expanded, a glorious embrace propelling them into a new realm, a world free from the abyss that had threatened to engulf them. The atmosphere shifted, shimmering with a soft luminescence, and slowly the light settled into a beautiful dawn. Lisa blinked, awakening on a sun-kissed street, her surroundings vibrant, filled with laughter and life. Lush trees swayed under warm sunlight, and laughter bubbled like a brook. The haunts of the night were fading like a distant memory, eclipsed by a new chance at life. "Lisa," the girl exclaimed, her voice a seraphic melody that resonated throughout the wholeness of this beautiful place. "We did it. We're safe." "Yeah," Lisa replied, flooding her chest as she held the girl's hands, feeling the warmth radiate between them like sunlight on a crisp morning. "We fought the darkness, and we won together." They shared a bright smile, two souls united in resilience, transforming loss into hope, life blossoming anew ahead of them. Lisa understood that the shadows would always linger, but they no longer had power over her. With the girl by her side, she stepped boldly into the light of the unknown, ready to forge a future, hand in hand. As they walked away from the remnants of fear, Lisa felt a surge of emotion, one that embraced every facet of her journey. Perhaps the road ahead would still be winding, yet she now carried the light within her heart, the light she had awakened and protected. Together, they ventured forward, resilient as the sun, stepping into a world ripe with possibilities, an exquisite convergence of love, strength, and a promise of an unbreakable bond that might weather whatever storm waited ahead. With every step, darkness receded, and the dawn promised new beginnings. This was the reality they had fought for: freedom, light, and the profound power of love. Now, if you found yourself moved by this incredible story, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are waiting for you. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow our vibrant community. And don't forget to flood that comment section. Share your reactions and let us know your theories about this poignant ending. What are your hopes for Lisa and the little girl? Finally, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Join our journey. Let us spread love and resilience together.